Writing a function rule. In many cases, it is possible to understand real-world problems using functional relationships. We need to be able to represent different situations as equations. In this first example, you can estimate the temperature by counting the number of chirps from the snowy tree cricket. The outdoor temperature is 40 degrees more than 1/4 the number of chirps the cricket makes in 1 minute. So we want to write a function rule that represents this situation. So the first thing we want to do is understand what we're looking at. So what we have is the temperature is 40 degrees more than 1/4 of the number of chirps that this cricket is going to make in a minute. So I've rewritten the important information here. The temperature is 40 more than 1/4 the number of chirps. So now we got to translate this into numbers. So in general, the word is going to mean an equal sign. So wherever you see is, you put an equal sign. The words more than, we've already discussed, that means plus. So we're going to put plus there. And then, like this one right here, we're going to have to come up with some variables. So let's say that T is going to equal my temperature. So there's my temperature. So I'm going to put T is 40 more than 1/4 the number of chirps. So I have to do another variable here. It doesn't matter what variable you use. You could use C for chirps or N for number. N equals the number of chirps. So I have 1/4 the number of chirps. So it's 1/4 times the number of chirps. So my equation is just T, or my function rather, is T equals 40 plus 1/4 times N. And that is your final answer. The next example, a landfill has 50,000 tons of waste in it. Each month it accumulates an average of 420 more tons of waste. What is the function rule that represents the total amount of waste after M number of months? So when I'm reading this, I see that the landfill has 50,000 tons of waste in it already. And then with every passing month, it is going to accumulate an average of 420 more tons of waste. Okay, so that's the important information. So the landfill has 50,000 tons and accumulates 420 more each month. So I rewrite it so that we can get rid of all the extra stuff. Alright, so now what do I have? We need to figure out some variables. So let's call W for the waste in the landfill. And we already were told what our other variable was. M is equal to the number of months that has passed. Alright, now when we're reading this, there are a couple different words in here. So has is kind of another word for is. So they're kind of similar, so they're both going to be equal signs. So if something has this much and then you're adding or subtracting or something from it, then it's going to be an equal sign. So we're going to put an equal sign for the has, and it has that much, and then it accumulates. Accumulates is kind of like adding on. You have this much and then you are accumulating more stuff. Alright, so this is kind of like saying more. And in the last one, that meant plus, so I'm going to put a plus there. 420 each month. Okay, and whenever we have words like per or each or anything like that, it means you're going to multiply a number times a variable or something. Alright, so now I fill in my variables. The landfill waste, W, is going to equal 50,000 tons plus, because it accumulates, 420 more each month. Each month means times the number of months. So my final equation is W equals 50,000 plus 420 M, and that would be your final answer. Next example, a kennel charges $15 per day to board dogs. Upon arrival, each dog must have a flea bath that costs $12. Write a function rule for the total cost for n days of boarding plus a bath. How much does a 10-day stay cost? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is understand what we're talking about. So what we're looking for is the total cost for n days at $15 per day of the boarding plus a $12 flea bath. Okay, so that's what it actually means. So now we have to figure out what we're looking at. So let's call C the cost, and we'll call let's see, per day, and I said n number of days, so n is the number of days. Okay, so when I'm writing this out, the total cost is going to equal something. So C equals $15 per day. So each day was n. So remember when I said per, we were talking about multiply. So 15n, or 15 times n, plus $12 for a bath. Now you don't have to have a bath every day if they stay at the kennel, so you don't have to go 12n. So that is your function, and now we want to find a 10-day stay, so n is going to be equal to 10 because that's the number of days. So I have C equals 15 times 10 plus 12. So my total cost is going to be equal to $162 for a 10-day stay. In this next example, write a function rule for the area of a rectangle whose length is 5 feet more than its width. What is the area of the rectangle with a width of 9 feet? First thing we need to do is remember our area formula. So that would be area equals length times width. So in my rectangle here, I have a length and I have a width. Okay, so I'm going to multiply those two together. However, I have a little bit more information saying that the length is 5 feet more than its width. If I look at this statement, I say the length is, so equals, so if I call length right here L, and width right here W, then I can put my variables in. So I have the length is 5 feet more than, that means plus, its width, W. So L equals 5 plus W, and now I can put my length in right there. So A equals length times width, and I put in my length and my width. My width is just going to be W, and my length is 5 plus W. So my final answer is my area equals W times 5 plus W. You might also write it as A equals 5 plus W times W. They are the same thing. So I don't care how you write it. Now we want to find the area of the rectangle when the width is 9. So I'm going to put 9 in. So I have A equals 9 times 5 plus 9, putting 9 in for W. So So my area is going to equal 9 times 5 plus 9 is 14. 9 times 14 is 126. And since that is an area, and we are talking about feet, it's going to be 126 feet squared. And that is your final answer. So those are your notes over writing a function rule. Go through the practice problems, do some of them, make sure that you understand the different terminology that we use in order to write rules, and then you can take your quiz.